Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all having an amazing day today. And in this one, I'm bringing you a very interesting video because we're gonna be going inside of my computer right here, literally into where I'd be creating an ad set, and I'm gonna show you 3 things with Facebook ads that you definitely need to check out. So just as a little background for this video here, this is gonna be 3 things that you should avoid. So everything you do with Facebook ads is obviously gonna be cause and effect, but it's never that simple. So Facebook can react in multiple different ways. I'll give you an example. This is not something I do, but I have a distant friend who every single time he has an ad set or a campaign or anything that is starting to work pretty well, he immediately makes 6 duplicates, all the exact same. And I was like asking him, I'm like, why the hell do you do that, right? It doesn't really make sense. That's not what I personally do. And he's like, dude, Facebook reacts differently to everything you do. So even if they're all 6 the same, they're not gonna get the same results. So that's just his strategy. Again, there's a bunch of different strategies, but every single thing that you're gonna choose or not choose inside of setting up a Facebook ad has either a yes or no option. So let me give you an example for that. Like, and I don't mean yes or no, it has one of 2 options. So for example, let's just go up right down here. I'll give you a very simple one. You can either automatic placement your ads or you can edit placements. Very simple, right? You could also do something where it's men or it's women or it's both, okay? So you have a couple options. You have the option of everyone who's in this location, everyone who lives. So again, it's never really just one option. You know, there's Facebook or Instagram. There's obviously more things you can do. So there's multiple choices, and what do you choose? These are 3 things that I recommend you avoid. And so I've been going through literally my entire day so far this morning has been launching ads, scheduling them for tomorrow. So getting a bunch of stuff up. But I wanted to go through and point out a couple of different things. I'm gonna try not to show anything. It's a brand new ad set, but I wanna show something. So when you're going through and setting up a brand new conversion ad set, okay? A conversion ad set. There's a couple things. First of all, your conversion. I'm not gonna talk about this because this depends on your pixel data and your strategy. People disagree with me on how I do this. Well, people disagree with how everyone does it. I disagree with how other people do it. Some people optimize for purchase right off the bat. That's an option that you can do. That's one of like 20 to 30 different types of ads you can run right away. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do. I don't go for purchase right away, okay? This is simply, I'm actually already on purchase for this ad account because I have a bunch of data. So, let's jump right in here. The first thing I wanna show you is this button. Now, one thing that you wanna understand about pretty much everything that Facebook does, this is how Facebook moves. They move not necessarily in your favor, but not necessarily against you. They just don't want you to have the best odds to succeed. Let me give you an example. When you're duplicating an ad set, it tries to automatically add on 2 extra types of placements. And people typically like skip over that, they don't see it, but now Facebook's gonna be spending money in a category that they want to, probably because they make a lot more money. Keep in mind, Facebook is a business. It's an advertising platform. That's how they make their money. That's like one of the only ways they make their money. So they obviously want you to be spending money, especially in certain areas where they could, I guess, make more, okay? So, one thing to think about with this button here to kind of finish off this first point, you don't want to necessarily have it be everyone in this location. Personally, I always do people who live in this location, okay? The reason I do that, and this is just something that was brought up to me like 2 years ago, and I've pretty much always done it, and it just works, and I don't know how big of a difference it makes, but people who live in this location, think about it like this. This is the example I've given before. If you're targeting the United States, wouldn't you want people in the United States who live there, not people who are in? Because there could be, you know, 6.4 million people from Japan and 9 million from China, 3 million from Korea, 1 million from Indonesia, 12 from Mexico, 1 million from Canada. You know, you get the point. There's a lot of people who might not be qualified to purchase your product. You know, that you gotta think about it. It depends on what you're doing. Maybe if you only offer shipping to the United States, you should then definitely have to be people who live in the United States, okay? So what if someone's here, you're not targeting people who live, you're targeting everybody in the United States, but they live somewhere else, so they would try to order the product. You know, it's not exactly gonna make the most sense. So, again, this button is right here under the locations. It's right before you start setting up all your detailed targeting on who you're gonna run your ads to, okay? Now, this next one is gonna be a tad bit more controversial because this is something to me personally. I'm I'm not gonna include this one as an actual one. This will be a bonus, okay? So this is not number 2, ready? This little button right here, expand interest when it may perform or improve performance at a lower cost per result. I always uncheck this. For me personally, I know there's gonna be someone in the comments disagreeing. That's great, I hope you make a lot of money, I hope your strategies work. I don't have that checked, because everything I do with my ads is on my own. I set up my targeting, I know exactly who I wanna target. I don't need to use that button. And so if you're doing something, let's just put in hot rod as an example, okay? I'll show you the size difference. So hot rods is 9 million, right, 9.9. So if you have this checked where it expands, that's 44 million. And I'm gonna try not to show the name of the account here. Anyways, it's 44 million. So if I uncheck it, it's gonna drop to 700,000. So for me personally, I don't want an audience size of 44 million. I'm not against doing it if there's interest that bring it that big. However, I don't like this button. It does not help the results for me. I've tried it, I still try it. Maybe I'll try it again and it'll change. Maybe you were, I don't wanna say right because there's different strategies. That's just something I uncheck. I like to do a lot of flex targeting, especially right away. That means one interest and one interest only. So if I'm adding this button, then it's not just gonna be targeting hot rods. Keep in mind, it's gonna be targeting millions and millions of other people, when in reality, if it was just hot rods, it would only be 710,000, okay? So that's something to keep in mind, just looking at your audience sizing and thinking about who you're targeting. That's up to you, it's up to the strategies. You gotta go learn somewhere else, you know, whatever strategy you wanna do, because there's a bunch of ones. If you wanna follow what we talk about in the programs, there's a specific strategy, there's actually 2. That button is not involved inside of there, okay? So, let's continue on here for the second point, because that was a little bonus one for you. The placements, okay? I always edit placements. I don't have a reason to do automatic placements, and the ones I like to do is just Facebook feed, okay, and Instagram feed. So you can uncheck stories, uncheck audience network and messenger. When I mentioned you can duplicate your ad set and they try to automatically add them on, they try to add on these 2, okay? So you wanna make sure when you're duplicating that these are unchecked. I do this simply because the sizing, and this is where I get the best results. So I like to split test between these 2, see which one's doing better for the product, because some things, you know, if you're starting a brand new product, like if I'm selling, you know, a chair or something, which would be a little bit weird. I don't know, if you're selling a chair, it might be, oh, and my battery just died. But anyways, so for something like that chair or any product, it might be an older audience who responds to it better. So that's gonna be more so Facebook. That'll be a great indication for you. You break it down by age and gender, and then you break it down by, you know, placement and device, and you're gonna be able to see exactly where that's coming from. So I like to split test between those 2. That's kind of part of my strategy and how I run my ads. I think most people just don't even know, first of all, what all this stuff is, what works, what doesn't, and why. But people don't even tend to notice this. They don't know that they should check this. That's something you should avoid checking, okay? So again, this goes back to Facebook trying to kind of automatically do some things so that people don't notice it, so that you're going in their favor. Little things you want to change like that, because they're gonna try and automatically check it to push you down that route for a reason, okay? So that's one thing to think about as you continue going through. You got your budget. Okay, another one, I'll give you a little bonus. I always do a 7-day conversion window. Okay, 7-day, you don't need to switch anything to 1 day. This essentially means that, and this is turning into more of a Facebook tutorial, whatever. This essentially means that if someone clicks your ad and they buy it 2 days later, if you have it on a 7-day conversion, it'll be tracked to that individual ad set. Whereas if you have it on 1 day and they come back 3 days later to buy it, it's just gonna be a random sale. And if you're not getting a lot of sales, you're gonna be scratching your head trying to figure out where that sale came from. So it's obviously always better to have it be tracked, okay? So we're gonna head on to the next page of Facebook here. I wanna show you a few. I can't show you guys the accounts. Anyways, right here where it says create ad up here and use existing post. Personally, I always use an existing post, almost always, okay? Unless I wanna do something inside of here, or the sizing is proper, or I just feel like it, or I'm doing a carousel, which you can still do in a page post. I'm gonna go ahead and do one up here with a use existing post. So what happens when you do that, let me just click it real quick. What happens is you're gonna go down here and it's gonna say enter post ID. Okay, so you hit this, enter post ID, you're gonna copy and paste it and hit submit. Now, the location you get that from is when you hit up here on the left, Ads Manager, you're gonna go over to Page Post, and that's where you can upload your actual picture, your video, your ad copy, any of that to create the post. Now the cool thing about this versus setting it up individually, and this is why I think it's definitely a resourceful tool that you should take advantage of, and Facebook's actually currently changing this, okay? They're currently changing it a little bit, but you guys can go ahead, you should make a page post versus inside of each individual ad set. First of all, for time, it takes a lot more time to do it every single time. Upload the image, copy paste your ad copy, then launch. But the biggest one is if it's all going to a page post, it's all going to the same one. Unless you want to test between a few different, it's typically under just one. So what happens is you'll have a network of like 30 different ads all run into one page post. So whether they work or not, it's all building more data, building more engagement on this post. So eventually you're gonna have, a page post that shows 1 million likes, 300,000 views, where that's a lot of social proof, and that's gonna help your ads continue to convert better, okay? So those are a couple of things that you should avoid, or I guess a couple of things that you should know when launching Facebook ads. There's a whole lot more. We go way more in depth in the programs. You guys can check out some of the resources down below. For example, our 2.0 program, that's very, very high level Facebook ad oriented. So if that's a skill you guys wanna learn, that's kind of what I focus on throughout the day. I have pretty much everything else outsourced. So that's one thing to think about. If you guys want more Facebook ad videos specifically, let me know in the comments down below. I can always make examples, launching them live, maybe going through other people's ads. Let me know. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, take 2 seconds to hit it. Let me know you enjoyed it. I do appreciate it. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow in the next video. Peace.